What are they gonna do with this next movie? That's the ultimate question. Like, what's gonna happen? Because it appears that the end of Bumblebee kind of finalized a lot of things. It just kind of settled a lot of things. And what's up, Alfonso Nation? It's Alfonso Peterman here today, and guys, welcome to the final episode of my Rise of Bumblebee series. That's right, this is it. This is the last one. The series is coming to an end. It was a very short series compared to the approaching TF5 series, because, you know, it was a much larger scale film, a lot more to talk about, a lot of, you know, fancy cars to cover and all this craziness. But this was a smaller film, so I would imagine this series being a little smaller, not that much to talk about. And it was a great movie though. So yeah, in this video, we're actually going to be talking about this current film and its progress, its success so far, and we're going to be talking about the future of the franchise, which also kind of ties in to this film. So, we just got breaking reports that because of the international success of Bumblebee, it appears that the sequel of Bumblebee is underway, as if they're going to make a Bumblebee 2, which is like the second part of what we just saw. Producers and writers and people who are involved with the franchise, they feel that this movie did so well, it's worth trying another one. And I would understand why the director, Travis Knight, would even think about a second film. I understand why Christina Hodson would even consider writing another film, because this current film, this Bumblebee movie, has been doing very well. I mean, as we know, the Bumblebee movie has racked up to $412 million worldwide and still counting. It's actually #1 in China right now, and there is a Japanese release that is expected for the month of March. So that's also going to bring more box office results. It's also going to bring more money into this movie's box office total. So that's going to be great. That's going to be fantastic. I mean, $412 million worldwide and counting is a great number for such a small movie, a smaller scale film, and it is story based. It's not like, you know, tons of action. There's a lot of great action, a lot of great melee, a lot of great things about the movie, but it was story focused. It was focused on telling a story of Bumblebee and telling the story of his relationship with Charlie. So what are they gonna do with this next movie? That's the ultimate question. Like, what's gonna happen? Because it appears that the end of Bumblebee kind of finalized a lot of things. It just kind of settled a lot of things. It just felt conclusive. It was very climactic. Like, how do you continue on from that? So a report from Deadline suggests that the idea of a Bumblebee movie and Optimus Prime team up wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, especially since we've heard a standalone Optimus Prime flick might be difficult to pull off. In fact, other prequel stories featuring different Transformers characters could eventually come down the pipeline as well, although other iterations have not currently been announced to the public. And that's kind of what the fans, I believe, would want. I mean, we kind of need other stories to be told. So here's a quote from Travis Knight about this Bumblebee movie. He says that when I get to the end of one of my movies, I always imagine what's next for the characters. And so in my mind, I've got all these scenarios and adventures that play out, both when Charlie and Bee and with everything else. And so, you know, he's basically saying, as a director, which, I mean, I understand that. You know, you're working on this movie, you're done with it, so you're like, okay, so I wonder where they can move on. Like, I wonder how this story can continue. And that's what he's saying. Like, every time I finish a movie, I always think about, okay, so, like, how could this even continue, if it were ever to continue? It's a hypothetical question, but it triggers his creative mind. It kind of flexes his creative muscle. Like, you know, it makes him think, like, how could I push this forward? How could I continue the story if I were ever to? And so he has already been thinking about a second Bee movie before we even knew about it. He's already been considering this. It's been something he's been thinking about. And the Bumblebee writer, Christina Hodson, also has that same idea. She's also been thinking about the same thing. In an interview, she said, and I quote, I know exactly what I want to do with one. I don't know if we're gonna do it. We've got to see if the audience go and see this movie, but I know where I want to go with the next one, end quote. So these people are like already thinking about this way ahead. They're like already ahead of the game, and they know what they want to do. So with all that being said, with all these developments being reported and all of the things we know about the Bee movie, I want to give my take on this. I think It's important for us to take the best of the franchise into consideration, what we think will be best for the franchise, because at the end of the day, we just want the franchise to survive. We want it to keep going. I know, Shady wants it too. We all want this franchise to keep moving forward. So here's my take on this. We don't need a Bumblebee sequel. I'm sorry, we just don't need a Bumblebee sequel. We don't need Bumblebee 2. The way that Travis Knight directed this film and the way that Christina Hodson wrote this film, it was perfect. And it can stand alone. It was done so well, it doesn't need a follow-up. It doesn't need a continuation. Now yet, you might be saying, well, we need to reboot the franchise, we have to continue somehow. I get it. We can still feed off of the storyline of Bumblebee, but we don't have to make it a second Bumblebee movie. There are many stories that need to be told. There are so many stories that have yet to be told about the characters. I mean, the story of Optimus Prime would be perfect. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of him. I'm saying that because Optimus and Bumblebee is closely related together. They have a close relationship. So you're gonna still see a lot of Bumblebee in it, but you're gonna also be telling the story of Orion Pax and how he became Optimus. You're gonna have a Cybertronian animated prequel along with that. You can literally do all in one. You don't have to make them separate films. You don't have to have an Optimus film, and then a Cybertronian prequel, and then a Bumblebee 2. You can combine them. You can have Bumblebee and Optimus on Cybertron, an animated film, a prequel, but it just tells the story of Orion Pax instead of Bumblebee, because his story was already told on Earth and on Cybertron. So I just think that a Bumblebee 2 would be very redundant, because this film was perfect. You know how many characters they can tell stories for, and it could just perfectly line up with the timeline of Bumblebee? You know, Optimus Prime becoming Orion Pax, you can tell how he became Orion Pax, how he became Optimus from Orion Pax. And then as he becomes Optimus, you can tell how he gathers the Autobots. And guess what? Bumblebee is in the mix. He's included in that. So it's incredible the way that this can work, but we have to not be redundant. Please. We finally got a different movie. We finally got a change of pace. Now let's keep that change. Let's keep that dynamic. Let's keep the dynamic element of the franchise by not being so redundant. Part of what made the Michael Bay movies a little bit tiresome is seeing the excessive nature of Michael Bay's taste. You know, the excessive explosions and the crude humor. All that stuff became excessive. Let's not do that with Bumblebee. Let's not be excessive. It was great. It was fantastic, and it also it's gonna cause some confusion because Charlie has already said her goodbyes to Bumblebee at the end of the movie. She already said her goodbyes. So by continuing the relationship, it's gonna either cause unnecessary conflict in writing or another plot hole. We don't need another plot hole. We don't need another plot hole. All we need is another story that can tie into Bumblebee's story as well and continue the storyline of a new rebooted franchise. That's very possible. I personally don't want a Bumblebee 2. I don't want a sequel. We don't need a sequel. We need to hear the stories of other characters. We can do Megatron prequel. We can do an Optimus prequel. We can do an Ironhide prequel. We could do, we could do an Origin prequel, which tells the story of Primus and Unicron and how Cybertron was even created. We can literally go to the very beginning of the existence of Transformers. This lore of Transformers is so dynamic, it's so deep, there's so many ways we can go with this. But making another one of this, don't need it! So that's just what I think. I just think there's other stories that we're going to be abandoning if we just keep focusing on one character. And I also saw some reports about the Optimus Prime film being difficult to create. Oh my god, you have to please explain that to me. I need somebody who is involved with the franchise. I mean, the people that I know, they probably won't have this answer. I need somebody from high up to please explain to me, how is it difficult to tell the story of Optimus Prime? He has more substance to his history than pretty much any other character in the lore of Transformers. The dude has an incredible story to tell. Literally, Orion Pax being this common robot in Cybertron, and then there's this conflict that breaks out, this war, and he's like very concerned. And then he looks at the council, and he's concerned about that and how they're not making the right decisions. So he pitches his ideas. He meets Megatronus. They do this. They connect. I mean, and then Cybertron becomes corrupted, so he has to travel to the core. He meets the core, he meets Primus, he gets the Matrix, he's Optimus Prime. Now he's Optimus, well, now we gotta gather the Autobots. Now how is he gonna do that? I mean, there's too much, there's like too much content to tell, and they can't tell it? I've been seeing reports about that. Like, I really physically don't understand how you are unable to tell the story of one of the greatest characters of Transformers. Literally the heart and soul of the Transformers. Please somebody help me out, please. I need to know, I need understanding. I need to know, how is this difficult? And is there a way to make it easier? We need this. I need this. This franchise needs this. So that's apparently the reason why I guess they're going for a Bumblebee 2, is because they're having trouble with Optimus Prime and making a solo film for him. Which, again, I'm baffled. I don't get it. I don't think I ever will get it. And that's how I feel. So, question of the day. What do you guys think we need next? Do we think we need a B movie 2? Do you think we need a Cybertronian prequel? Do you think we need an Optimus Prime solo film? Or something different? Put it in the comment section below. I really want to know what you guys think, because the opinion and the feelings of the fans matters. And that's what made B so successful. Because Travis Knight listened to the fans who wanted G1, bingo, 412 million worldwide. So, what do you guys think? Put it in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching the Rise of Bumblebee series. Incredible series. I've had fun talking about this movie, and I'm so glad we've made it far, and I'm glad the movie's doing well, so there's more coming. So anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, slam dunk a like on it, and as always, my name is Alfonso, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.